Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Mike Vogiatzakis Show. Tonight, an excellent evening, a great evening to talk about something that's, well, not only happening here in Canada, but worldwide. We've got a lot to get to tonight for sure. This is one of those topics that it really is an important conversation, and we've touched on it quite a few times, and whether it was Ask the Funeral Director or whether it was even just on the previous episodes that we've done here on the new show. This is not a game. This is not a drill. This is real, and it's happening around the world, as I mentioned. Governments are restructuring society. They call it the Great Reset. The global plan, it's led by, well, one individual who isn't really in charge. He's just one of the guys executing it all. And I guess he kind of laid out some of this as well based on who his father was. And we'll talk a little bit about that coming up as we get into Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum. The plan to reshape how we live, how we work, how we spend, and how we're controlled. And the truth is this: Winnipeg is showing signs of following that same blueprint. So, with that, we'll be back with more right here. Mike Vogiatzakis is ready to go. So am I. Lots to come on the new Mike Vogiatzakis Show. Everlasting Memorials are Manitoba's memorial specialists. Are you looking for a memorial for your loved one or yourself? The team of expert memorial design consultants at Everlasting Memorials provides a variety of high-quality granite, marble, and bronze products in many styles, sizes, and colors. Additionally, we also produce cremation urns, pet memorials, statues, vases, and other grave accessories for you to choose from. Our in-house stonemason, graphic artist, sandblasting booth, and laser etching machine can make your design fully customized so it suits the memory. Established in 1986, we're a family business with a commitment to provide compassionate memorial products for the departed. Some of our work can be seen in small towns and big city cemeteries, parks and trails, as well as heritage sites all throughout Canada. We can help you choose a memorial that best represents the essence of a person's life. Everlasting Memorials, for the comfort of peace and remembrance. Visit us online to book your free consultation at everlastingmemorials.ca. Well, Mike, welcome back to the show. Great to be here tonight. We've got a lot to get to. This is a conversation that is very, very urgent right now, as you know. We've got a topic here that, well, isn't just, like I said, in Canada, it's global. And globally, there's some real big things that are going to switch and change this country around, and it's going to turn it upside down on its head. So we'll get to some of that in a bit. How you been?
Been good. You know what? It's been a rough day. It's been a rough week. As you know, my brother's murder trial is on right now as we speak, and today I'm totally exhausted from the trial. Unfortunately, my mom today had to sit through the Crown and the
pathologist.
The pathologist, and what they did is they zoomed into the video of my brother being murdered.
That's a tough scene.
And it was really tough seeing that, especially from seeing it from a distance, you don't see a lot, but when you zoom in and you see the fine details of what happened to Kyriakis, was totally devastating for my mom. Something no mother ever wants to see, something no mother should see, but my mom had to witness that today. And as the tears were really loud and the cries were really loud in that courtroom, I kept looking back at my mom, and my heart was just broken for her, knowing that she's feeling every one of those hits that you saw and every one of those movements that took place. So one of those weeks, we can't talk too much about the trial, but next week's show, we're bringing in somebody from Victim Services. It's Candace. She's from she's from Candace House, and she's going to come in and talk to us about Victim Services and what happens. And it's going to be one interesting show, so you want to join us next week.
She's a real special lady.
I'll tell you.
I saw her on day one. I was there at the trial with you, and I know that she's taking you for lunch, part of Victim Services operations. Plus, they brought bottled water back for everybody that was there that day. They had boxes of Kleenex. They made sure to talk to every single person, and it was really, I guess, it means a lot when you're in that situation. I mean, nobody else is necessarily having any compassion at that moment, but that lady kind of eases that tension, doesn't she?
And they have a whole crew. So I want you to know, in the Winnipeg courts alone this week, 6 murder trials. A majority of those that are on trial for murder this week are all part of the catch and release program, including my brother's murderer. So it just shows you how much is going on and what's happening in the city and how bad it really is. And when you get in those courtrooms and you see what's happening and you feel the pressure and it's something else. And, my brother's trial is probably going to go on for a few more days, but you still don't get closure because it goes from this to the Crown arguing with his lawyers. They go back and forth. Finally, they take a break. The judge will decide whether he's guilty or not and make a ruling, and then they come back with a sentencing time. So it's a long process still.
And then there's obviously the appeal after that if they choose.
So he has 30 days to appeal the trial after that happens.
Right.
So we may be in an appeal stage too. So it's the court system is backed up for a reason. And in my opinion, if you have a video and if you have a pathologist telling you what happened and you actually see it with your own eyes, what else do you need?
Yeah, that's right.
What else do you need? Everything else is hearsay. If you didn't have the video and things took place, it would be different. But with a video, you got evidence. You got evidence right there in front of your eyes.
Look, I don't want to necessarily touch on something that maybe you can't talk about, but I don't know what you can and can't talk about. So let me just ask you a simple question. If you can't, please make sure you say it. Brad, I can't say anything. Where's the media at with everything, Mike?
So the media came out a couple of times. Didn't really see the truth about things. Like, for example, my brother started the fight. They forgot to mention that this guy came charging in at my brother.
And there was a previous situation before any of this altercation happened on a different day, correct?
So he was a known person to the Cork and Flame and to my brother, somebody who was a menace to society in that area and kept causing problems and problems to the customers, problems in the area in general. And, at one point they show in the video that he comes charging at my brother as my brother has the hand on the door ready to go into the Cork and Flame. And my brother turns around to defend himself. So if I come charging at you, Brad, or any other person, it's normal to defend yourself.
Yeah.
And that's without a reasonable doubt, you can defend yourself. And that's what Kyriakis did. Unfortunately, he ended up in the wrong part of this fight. But I want to say, before we get into saying hello to some people, from the bottom of my heart and my family's heart, I really want to say thank you. Thank you to all the people that reached out, who sent messages and prayers and all the things that you did. It means so much to a family that's going through a murder trial, and the emotional roller coaster ride that you're on, seeing your brother's killer in the courtroom and seeing what he did to your brother and all the things that take place. It takes a lot out of you at the end of the day. So thank you so much for just reaching out and saying hi, and tons of people did, and I appreciate each one of you. And I want you to know that I read every comment that comes in. One thing that I do is I take time to read every single comment, and in some cases I'll reply to them. And of course, there's the old keyboard warrior on there, a couple of them that leave messages on there, but then when you go to see who they are, they're nobody.
And do you think they read mainstream media and that's why they're doing that?
I think it's just, there's evil in everything you do, right? And
There
I think
is.
that's what it is. But let's say hi to some people before we get on to the show. And again, thank you for joining us tonight. Please share the show out,
Holy
like
cow.
it.
Gord didn't hit number one.
Mike?
It wasn't Dan
Mike
Ross.
Mazer?
Mike Mazer, right. From the road.
From the
parked
road.
in
What
the
rhymes with
city
fun?
Regina.
And Dan Ross, number 2. Gord, what happened? All the way to number 3.
Yeah, that's right, Gord. You missed it by a second, buddy.
Even Kevin got on there this time.
They might have gone to the other page first, and we're sorry that this is happening.
It's going to take 60 days.
Yeah, it's a 60-day wait to get the Mike Vogiatzakis show page up and working and actually being able to broadcast there. And we tried to get it appealed and try to get it bumped up sooner, but there's no go there. So we're basically SOL.
Yeah. Something else we're going to do tonight in every show is around the 10-minute mark of the end of the show, we're going to go to the screen and we're going to try and get to some of your questions.
Which one? There's 9 of them.
9 screens in there. But we're going to try to go to your questions. So if you have a question tonight and you'd like us to answer it, leave it on the in the comments, and we will go back and try to. And I'm going to make kind of notes as we see some of them.
Questions is what we're looking for.
Yeah, questions. We're looking for questions you want us to answer.
We don't want to necessarily repeat everybody's comments, but questions are a big thing.
Questions. The big question mark.
That's right.
And tonight's show, of course, an interesting show to say the least. And a lot of people are still asleep to what we're going to talk about tonight. A lot of people are, that there's no truth to that. But there's truth to that right here in the city of Winnipeg. And we're going to talk about it and go through it. But what is happening around the world is very real. And it's not just a conspiracy, because people say, well, they said COVID was conspiracy. But after we fought and many didn't get vaccinated and many did, and the war started. But this is all part of it. This is all part of the plan, is to cause the destruction in the world that they did. So as we get into the show, you're going to learn a lot about it. So if you have questions, please put them on the comments and we will get to them. Because people feel something's wrong. There's no doubt about that. People feel the world is changing, and not for the better. They feel control is tightening around them, and you see that. They say freedom is slipping away slowly, and freedom is slipping away. You can see it in so many different circumstances. Tonight we will connect the dots. Tonight we will speak the truth, and it's really important to hear the truth, because a lot of people don't speak the truth. It goes into the media, where the media is not telling you the truth. They tell you what you need to hear at need basis. Tonight we will speak the truth. And tonight the public needs to wake up.
All right, Mike, so here's the deal. You've got this great reset. It's ready to go. Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum, the United Nations, the WHO, they're all tied together to influence 52 cabinet members and, well, a few prime ministers in this country along the way. Justin's been there. Klaus has been there, Carney's been there. Carnage, I always call him. He's been there. And then 50 others that sit on the liberal side of things, or possibly the NDP side of things. And don't get me wrong, there are some conservatives that have probably eaten steak with Klaus too. But the reality here is that, good old Klaus is not only feeding him steak, he's feeding him a plan that really does hurt Canadians.
And I need to interrupt you for a minute. So Klaus is he's not elected by anyone.
No, he's unelected bureaucratic.
Don't forget,
crap.
He's not the prime minister. He's not the president. He's nothing. There are nobody that is trying to take control of the world. And somehow they've convinced world leaders everywhere to jump on board.
If you're going to pick an evil villain, look at this guy's face. I mean, that's evil villain stuff. That's like, what was that movie called with Austin Powers?
I would say, some of his plans are like the devil roaming around in this world.
The devil roaming around in this world, yeah.
It's called the Great Reset, a global reconstruction agenda. And it promises improvement and safety. But does it really? Think about the improvement and safety that they're doing, right, Brad?
Mm-hmm.
But what does it really deliver? It delivers control. And we're seeing control happen all over the world right now as we speak, as they're changing things, getting into digital identification, getting into currency that's going to be changed, centralized power, government-managed resources, and we're seeing that from a government that's not a government.
That's right. It's a non-government bureaucratic bunch of you-know-what coming into our country saying, we're going to overstep everybody here, and what we're going to do is we're going to implement our own people who believe in what our messaging is, how we're going to change the world. A depopulation plan that basically herds everybody together like cattle, rounds them up like cattle, tracks them like cattle, or even truckers for that matter, because everybody's being tracked these days, and that's something that we're going to get into a little bit deeper into this conversation.
How about corporate control over everyday life? And we see that happening. Do you remember the days when you used to go to a mom and pop shop and, they'd know your name and you'd go in there and they'd give you credit and do all the things that they did? Those are gone. The mom and pop shops are completely disappeared, and they've been taken over by large corporates that control. And we support them daily. Maybe not meaning to, but sometimes you have no choice. You look at Amazon, for example. Amazon has made things so simple for people that they don't go and support the brick and mortar stores anymore. They sit in their living room and they get their package delivered to their doors. Their message is clear, and you've heard Klaus Schwab say this: you will own nothing and you will be happy. Have you heard that, Brad?
Many a time. Many a time.
That means, when I say nothing, that means you're going to, in the future, you will own no property, according to them.
Well, so stop, because that's where we're seeing that happen in British Columbia right now. Land titles have changed hands. The Aboriginals are basically being given back the land, where the band is now in charge.
Yeah.
Richmond, British Columbia is one. There's another one called Haida Gwaii, and that's 400 islands just on the north end of Vancouver Island, and that has been turned over as well. Now, everybody on the islands had a chance to vote if you were Aboriginal, but if you were the white man on the island, you didn't get a chance to vote at all, Mike, in that voting election. And that really did change the game quite a bit, because at the end of the day, they turn over the property, they turn over the land, they turn over the resources, all back to the natives.
Yeah.
And that's okay, but at the same time, there's an ulterior motive here for that, and that comes out of the 2030 plan.
Right. And I have a feeling, and correct me if I'm wrong for the people watching the show tonight, and please follow, and share the show, an important show.
Debbie wants you to hit the bell a couple times. We got her here, Debbie. Don't worry.
There you go, Debbie. Oh, that's what the 3 bells are. Ding dong. Anyways, what I believe is, and Brad and I had a conversation about this, I think this is when people are going to rebel. When you say that you're going to take away my property and I no longer own it, I think people.
Are you getting mad now?
Yeah, I'm going to get mad, because I think every citizen in Manitoba, across the world, across Canada, is finally going to wake up. And when they say you don't own your house anymore, and we're taking your home, and you're
Mike, I need you to understand how that works, because it's plain and simple. The financial crash that's possibly coming, or will come at some point, is what's going to stir this on. And in 2026, we have a large amount of people who all have to go back to the bank and refinance their mortgaging, and that means that I think it's like 70% or 75% of Canadians are going to renew their mortgages in 2026. When they get to the bank is going to say, "Sorry, we can't." Sorry, how about this? Because of the way the interest rates are, if you were paying $2,000 on a 2% mortgage, and you now go to 4% in terms of the interest rate, does that mean you're hitting $4,000 in payment? It's not going to double quite the same, but it's a generalistic kind of a rule of thumb to say that it would double, but it's just slightly lower.
It pretty much will double.
It's just slightly lower. Yeah. That's right.
So you could see people losing their houses in that scenario. So the bottom line is they're going to force you to lose your house.
They want people in apartments.
That's right. And that's why they're building. That's why Winnipeg is becoming a city full of apartments, where they're piling them everywhere they possibly can, and they're passing laws they've never passed before, with fourplexes beside a house in Tuxedo, for example. So they say that you will own no private property in the future. They also say that there'll be no independent businesses. So that means a business like Voyage Funeral Home, for example, an independent business.
It'd be corporate.
What'll happen is
kind of a corporate.
They'll force you to sell your business, which has happened around the funeral industry everywhere. Funeral homes that are owned by families are being bought out by large corporations that are controlling the funeral industry across the world. So we have 2 major players that control the industry everywhere, and they come out to small funeral homes, and they give you money that you just can't say no to.
Yeah, that's right.
And you're done. You're out of there. And then, of course, we're talking about no financial freedom. That's a big thing. So let's just see digital ID comes in, and then they come in to this digital currency that they're talking about. And then you want to go to the bank and you want to take money out, and they say, no, there's no money available to you because A, B, C, and D. This is what we're in for. We're in for a financial situation. I don't know if you remember this. A few years ago, Greece shut down when they went to the euro, went from the euro to changing their money. And people were lined up at banks for days and hours and weeks. And all you'd be able to get, even if you had $1 million in your bank account, was $100 a week. That's control. That's financial control. So that's why we got to keep using cash. We got to keep paying in cash. We got to make sure we keep our currency alive. Because once we, unless, I know it's convenient. It's convenient when you can go up to a store and tap your card, or you can, put things on credit, or you can finance, but that takes away our money. And the more money they take away, the less chance we have surviving a financial crisis. And that's definitely coming, and that gives you no personal choice. So in the future, you won't have a personal choice to make your own decisions. And to me, that's really scary when the government says, well, this is your choice. No, I want to go to Brad's house. No, you can't go to Brad's house because you're out of your 15-minute district.
That's right.
And
True
that's
story.
those are choices. No, I want to go see my mom. Well, yeah, you could go see your mom. We're going to give you passes to go to work, those 30 passes. But once you bypass those 30 passes, you got to pay X amount of money to go see Brad and go see your mom.
I've got to correct you there. It won't be money. It'll be credits.
Credits.
It'll be social credits with a social credit score, which, again, regulates you into buying things. So you go to the liquor store today, Mike, you buy yourself a bottle of whiskey. You come home, you drink it tonight with a bunch of buddies.
Does it look like
over.
I had a bottle of whiskey today?
Not yet. But at the end of the day, you say, okay, I'm going to go back tomorrow because tomorrow I got Fred coming over and I need another bottle of whiskey because we're going to drink some more whiskey tomorrow night with Fred. So you go back the next day, you get into the liquor store, they scan your facial recognition, they try to take your money and you're denied. The government says, no, you cannot. You had bought a bottle yesterday, you cannot buy a bottle for 7 days.
And you see, you got to wonder this, Brad. All across the city of Winnipeg, and you've noticed this, and if you haven't, start looking. There's cameras up everywhere. Oh, yeah. They're putting cameras over bridges, over corners, over all areas of the city. And why are they doing that? Why don't we ask the city of Winnipeg why they're putting cameras up?
I know why.
Everywhere. And
so
this leads me to another leaders. You need leaders that are going to stand up for you. Leaders who are going to say no. Leadership is probably one of the most important things.
The problem is, and we'll get to this later, but one individual is not on the side of the citizens of the city, that's for sure. And we'll have to talk about that in a bit. The goal is not prosperity, Mike. The goal is really about
the governments
obedience.
And corporations will decide what you will do. So once we give away our freedom, our businesses, our homes, the governments and corporations will decide what you could do, when you could do it, why you could do it, and how you're going to do it.
Right.
And to me, that's pretty scary.
That obedience, though, is the one that I think you got to be most fearful of because that freedom does disappear, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Keep going.
So the goal is not prosperity. So we need to know that. The goal is obedience. That's a big word. Obedience meaning if you don't obey, you will pay the price.
So how do they restructure a society then? Tell me that.
They take control. Once they have control, they can change everything. Once they take away your money, once they take away your business, your homes, your way of life, your way of travel, your vehicles, all that kind of stuff, they could take the world and change it and make it the world they want it to be. Then that's called obedience, because then you have no other choice but to follow what they say. Why?
That's right.
Because the government's your God at this point, which is terrible. Exactly. Freedom disappears. Dependence replaces it. That's really scary. So now you're depending on the government. And that's what they want you to do, and it's happening in China. And you may want to talk about what's happening in China, but in China, you got to depend on the government because it's a point system. And if you run out of points, you're basically in trouble.
That's true. There's a lot of things going on. Like we talked about how they restructure society. They do that through a bunch of different means. Obviously, one of them is crisis, right?
Yeah, so how do you restructure? So what did they do during COVID? Let's think about this. During COVID, what did they cause? This is all in the World Economic Forum website, by the way. So everything we're telling you, there's nothing we're making up. There's nothing we're pulling out of our pockets. This is true fact of what's happening and what kind of control they want to have in this world. So through crisis, they have control. Crisis is the tool to break the system, to break the people, make them desperate. And all this happened during COVID. That's exactly what they did. They broke the people. They made people desperate because they threw anger, a little bit of fear in the world, a little bit of hate. You hated your mom and dad, you hated your brother and sister because one didn't get vaccinated and the other one did. So what did that cause? That caused chaos. And that's what they wanted. When people are afraid, they beg for solutions. So when they throw all this at us, they take away our cash, they do cause this destruction in our world, make Brad and I hate each other, then we beg for solutions. And they trade freedom for safety.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing. Think about that. You're trading your freedom for safety. So what's happening on our streets now? What happened to my brother? My brother was murdered. Why was he murdered? Because there was a repeat offender on the streets who had a criminal record that was this long. But what happened at the end? Catch and release. They let him back on the streets. As a matter of fact, this criminal, the last time he was released, after committing serious crimes, he was released on a promise to appear. So why would the courts release a violent criminal back to the streets on a promise to appear? And by the way, he never did appear. So we beg for solutions. We beg for solutions because we end up trading freedom for safety. And that's what happened in my brother's case. Fear is the weapon. Dependence is the goal. Fear is the weapon. Dependence is the goal. That's a big thing. And when we're talking about this, let those words stick in your mind. Control is the end result. Meaning they have you where they want you. The old saying, got you by the balls. This is what happens here. And it's scary. And when you hear about this and we share with your friends and they say, this is just another conspiracy theory, they're wrong. This is what's happening in everyday life right now. There's more and more control happening where you go to the bank, for example, and you say, I want to take out $5,000. Oh, no. What's it for? Where are you going to spend it? Oh, sorry, we can't give you that amount of money. You have to order it. That's control. In the olden days, if you wanted to go to the bank and take $5,000 out, they'd go to the safe and bring you your $5,000 and off you went. And you wouldn't be asked a single question. The world is changing every day as we see it, as we feel it. We'll talk about Winnipeg.
Well, no, let's talk about the rest of the world first because that's more important, actually. There's a lot happening in Europe. There's a lot happening in the Netherlands. There's a lot happening all around the world, just not here in Canada. We seem to be on this slow roll, as they call it. And there's one of those coming up this weekend, I must say, on the 22nd. There's a slow roll of the farmers. They're going to roll up to the ledge and roll around the perimeter.
You know what I want to know? You asked me that. So are you going to support that slow roll when they come through, or are you going to be there? Are you going to honk your horns and be by the side of the streets like we did on Broadway?
Well, you join them. You get in line and you start following them.
Yeah.
You just join in the slow rollers. And anybody can do it. You don't have to have a truck even.
And you know what?
Take your scooter and your bike.
Think about this. Farmers are being forced to sell off their land. So the government controls the food. This is a big part. So when we don't have farms anymore...
What's forcing them off their land, Mike?
The government's forcing them off their land.
Well, how?
They're just putting pressure on the farmers.
It's actually the bank.
Well, I don't know about that. I think it's
doing that.
I think farmers these days. I have a friend who's a farmer.
Pressure from the government has put pressure on the crops
to control the foods.
No, control the yields, and which controls the income for the farmer, which again blows his chances of having a mortgage.
So I have a friend who's a farmer, and he has I don't know what it is, 50 acres of land, let's just say, and he just can't make money on his farm anymore. With the bad weather, with the crops,
no,
with
you
all
either
this
have
stuff.
you have to have like multiple acreages, or you can't do it. It won't happen.
And he's not making money on his farm. So what is he doing? He has to sell his farm.
Well, the government's laying down some other regulations where you can't move things around. They're saying like they're limiting butcher shops to doing things. Or, the culling of the ostriches was another.
Yeah, look at the ostriches, and that happened right here in Canada.
CFIA overreach, right?
And okay, let's look at Australia for a minute.
They're going after 3-headed chickens next. I heard.
Well, I'm going to say something about a cousin of mine in Greece told me that the government is going after the sheep in Greece. They're killing off the sheep. And the sheep are being killed off just like the ostriches were killed off here, and that's really scary. In Australia, people are being locked in their homes. Can you imagine? Well, that did happen here. It happened here during COVID. We got locked in our homes, and they told you couldn't leave. And they told you couldn't do this and you couldn't do that. What was that? Control.
Wait till you start eating Bill Gates steak, chicken and pork.
Let's talk about travel restriction. Free speech crushed. Well, we see free speech being crushed now with all the bills that are being passed. I mean, Brad knows the bills off the top of his head. What are some of the bills?
Oh, C3, C8, C9. Those are just a few of the many, but those are the ones that are going to stop us from even being able to sit here and do our job anymore.
And let's go one step further. We can't even share news in Canada.
No, that's right.
Think about that. We live in a country that's supposed to be a free country, but we don't have freedom of the press anymore where you could share the news that's happening in your backyard.
That's right.
So when they take that right away from you, you got to look at China. And then when you look at China, you see a whole bunch of things going wrong. And you see the amount of people there being 100% controlled. Everything is being controlled. How? By digital surveillance. Digital surveillance is controlling everything in China. They know your face. They know who you are. They know where you live. They know how many times you go out. As Brad said, you want to go to the liquor store this week? Well, you've already went twice. You can't go anymore. And then they add another magic ticket to that, and it's called the social credit score. So now you have digital surveillance. Add that up with the social credit score.
Have you been a bad boy lately? Because they've been watching for a very long time. So anything you've done probably over the last 5 years, you've been watched. Okay, what a load of crapola.
No kidding. And you know what? When you're being watched, the next time Brad, you go into the liquor store because you go there often.
No, I don't. I haven't even had a drink in 32 years.
And then when you go in there and you if you disagree with what's going on, they shut down your life. Brad and Mike no longer have a life.
No, that's right. It's over at that moment when we can't have a beer, eh?
And let's talk about Europe and the UK. 15-minute cities controlling movement. You think about this and
how do they do that, Mike?
yeah, and you think about this in your mind and you go, how can it possibly be?
No, that'll never happen.
That'll never happen. But you live where we are today in the studio is a 15-minute city on its way to becoming a live 15-minute city.
Yeah, the only thing is we probably won't have the house anymore and I'll be living in an apartment somewhere. Trying to figure out where I'm going to put all this stuff.
So do you think...
Oh, wait, no, I'll own nothing and love it.
Yeah,
right.
you love it. So do you think eventually, look at how many homes there is. Do you think eventually they're going to knock down homes and build more apartments? Is that the plan?
Oh, that's the plan.
Or are they going to keep the 15-minute cities?
Happy Land Pool was done for a reason, Mikey, and it was to get to the water line underneath the pool. Did you know that?
I did know that.
Story?
I did.
I couldn't believe that.
And that's a perfect example.
How come that took so long to come out?
Exactly. And perfect example of losing control. So here's a pool that the neighbors always went to. The kids had fun. They build memories. They had their barbecues. They had their swims. And all of a sudden, city of Winnipeg comes across and just takes it away. Why? Because he had a bigger plan. And now what are they building there?
I have no idea. They're going in to fix the main water line. I know that, going into St. Boniface and that sort of thing. But what else happens?
So they're rebuilding that area with apartments and with condos and the things that they're going to do there. So 50-minute city zones, controlling movement is going to happen right here in Winnipeg. And, I was in Edmonton recently, and I was in Toronto, and you see those cities coming alive there, and you drive into them. When I went into Toronto, it's crazy how they're setting up 15-minute cities. And the residents there, a gentleman that I met there, and we went and talked, even in Edmonton, he drove me around, and he doesn't even see it, doesn't have a clue. When I even told him 15-minute cities, he said, Mike, what's wrong with you?
Are you going to drive through the barricades when they're set up, the checkpoints?
I am going to fight this for as long as I live with all the strength that I have, and hopefully I will be mayor of the city. And
one infraction and your social credit score is toast. You're no longer part of the program.
Well, if you're a mayor, it's a little bit hard to kick you out. You're in control. You're in part of the control system when you're a mayor of a city. You control how that city goes, where it goes, why it goes. You work with the provincial and federal government to get your city the things you need, to make a difference, to stand up for your city and say, no, we're not going to be a part of this. And how many people pulled out of what was it called when they were going?
Winnipeg Metropolitan.
Metropolitan. So how many mayors said, no, we don't want to be part of this, and they pulled out? And they had to change their name eventually and come back with a
Yeah, that's right.
with a whole new thing. So I think if we unite as one, all of us, which is probably not going to happen because people just don't seem to want to go in the same direction, we could fight this and we can make a difference. But the problem is they have the tools to put all this stuff in front of us that's going to block us from fighting anger with each other and hate and violence. And, look at Germany. You want to talk about Germany? Energy restrictions are a forced compliance.
Same thing's happening here in Canada. They're starting to put smart water meters in Brandon, and anybody who objects, they're shutting off their water. No longer going to have water because you don't want to put the smart meter in. We're shutting off your water. They walk from your main terminal on your house, and they go right out front, and they go right underground, and they go click, and that's it. They shut your water off.
In Germany, such as in Greece too, people fought back, Brad.
Oh, I know they didn't.
People fought back. Millions filled the streets. And I'd love to see this in Canada. I would love to see this in Canada where millions and millions of people go to the streets and say, we've had enough. There'll be a day when this will happen, when people are going to go to the streets, and it may be too late. But one day we got to mend together, unite as one, stand against the evil and the destruction that's coming our way. Why? And we talk about this all the time. One day your grandkids or your kids are going to say, Dad, what did you do for me? Why didn't you stand up? Why didn't you make a difference? Why didn't you let me have the world that you had? So what are you going to say to your kids when that happens, or your grandkids? Be prepared to fight. Be prepared to go to war, because that's what we're going to have to do to stop this 2030 agenda and the Great Reset, just like Trump is doing. Trump is a pain in their butts, and he's doing it the way it should be done. No, I'm not going to be part of this. Walking away from everything that he should be walking away from. Why? A lot of Canadians don't like Trump, but he is doing what the United States needs done, and it seems like the people there love him.
100%.
But the media barely shows it. The media shows nothing that's going on in this world, and to me that's scary. Even my brother's court trial. The media showed what they wanted to show, then they left. They came back, got a little more information, wrote whatever they heard, left, and didn't care to hear the rest of the story. There's always more behind the scenes.
They control the information is what we call that, Mike, and controlling the information is a big part of their game. And, somebody online had just written a comment and said, most of the mainstream are out right away. They're going to be closing shop. So what you're going to see is CTV, possibly City, possibly Global. And again, I'm only predicting things at this point because of what was said in the comments section tonight. But I've heard this rumor too that the only thing left at the end of the day will be CBC come 2030.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then that's propaganda media out of the Liberal government, and the only government, which won't be a Liberal government anymore. Hey, we'll be actually free of them. We'll only have to worry about Klaus Schwab and the unelected individuals who are going to try to run this place.
Well, CBC is getting all the money,
Yep.
Follow the money.
Well, they've all gotten their fair take along the way. I shouldn't say shake; it was take.
So we talked about control the people. They already know how to control the people. They know how to control you. They know. Listen, this digital ID that's going to come in, and the chip that they're planning on putting on people.
Okay, we got to talk about Winnipeg though.
I will.
That's where we're going to get.
But I want to talk about convenience for a minute, and how they're pushing it. If you go to Sweden and Switzerland, and you watch what they're doing with the chip that they're putting in your hand that's going to be part of this control, they make it sound so convenient. Oh, I want to get this chip, especially the younger generation. It's so convenient. I don't need to carry credit cards. I don't need keys anymore. I just swipe my hand and I get into my house and into my car, and I go shopping and I just swipe my hand and I go shopping. That's convenience. But behind the scenes, that's 100% control.
That's right. 100%. Now let's talk about Winnipeg. So how does this apply here, Mike? Because the Winnipeg Metropolitan Region showed up one day. You and I were at the very first meeting. You stood up there proud, and you had a lot to say that day. And I think you shook the room by the time you were finished.
Hey, didn't somebody throw their pen in my direction?
You sure did. You sure did.
Well, let's look at our city. Let's talk about our city for a minute. Crime is out of control. There's no doubt about that. Crime is out of control, and it's out of control on purpose. This is part of the plan. This is the blueprint. Police are overwhelmed. Police cannot keep up with the crimes. As a matter of fact, the majority of the crimes, police don't even show up to do a report anymore. If you get your windows smashed, break and enters, all that kind of stuff, police aren't even showing up. Why? Because they're overwhelmed. Not because they're not good people out there to try to make a difference and do their jobs. They're just, their system is so overwhelmed.
That's right.
And I talked to a police officer, and he told me sometimes, I can't remember what he said, 100 calls on their shift. Well, how are they going to get to 100 calls? So they get to the priorities. And then police are overwhelmed. Why? Because the capture and release program's out of control. So they catch the criminal goes through the justice system throws them back in the streets, the police catch them again. It's a circle that's going round and round and round, and it's the rotating doors at the court system. And I've seen it this week myself firsthand. Businesses are dying. In Winnipeg, you see businesses boarded up, small businesses closing down, even some of the bigger businesses pulling out. This is because taxes are up. Good old Scott Gillingham, 2026 budget, your taxes are going up again.
3.5.
Water is going up again. So are you going to... This was part of the plan we're talking about, where they make it where you can't live in your own house anymore. You can't pay the water bills. You can't pay the taxes. You can't pay your mortgages. So how do you keep your house? Part of the control we're talking about. Services are collapsing all over the city. There's no doubt about that. Look at the transit chaos.
Did you ever ask yourself, who has the money to actually survive this mess? Do you know who has the money?
Yeah, it's the wealthy people in the city that have the money.
No. How about a family of 7 that just arrived?
Well, on top of that, so
but how about
You're 100% right.
white man get out of his house and
100%. And you know what? This is something that happened in Greece. So the other people coming into this country were going into Greece, immigrants, and kicking Greek families out of their homes.
Yeah, coming to the door, saying,
"Get out of our house!"
Yep.
And they were doing that in Greece. And Greece stood up and said, "You know what? F you guys."
Yeah, they kicked them all out.
And they threw them out.
All of them.
And they're going to continue to throw them out. So this is part of the problem. So are they coming
here?
here?
You come in a boat, you're going home in a boat.
And you know, Brad, you're 100% right. You look at the average citizen who's worked their butts off, who has a family, who's working 2 or 3 jobs to try and pay bills, but go buy groceries.
Government
these
ain't
days.
giving me no money.
No. But you're an immigrant coming into this country, and they're giving you all kinds of cash. Well, you could stay at a 5-star hotel. Here's money for clothing. Here's money for furniture. Here's money for an apartment. Here's your down payment.
How about the bank going, hey, a new customer, and we love new customers. Here's your mortgage. Here's your loans. Here's everything you could possibly want. Welcome to Canada. Because that new customer, what does that do for the bank? Do you know?
Well, what does it do for the bank? It creates more customers.
It actually creates more money. It allows the bank to print money for that customer.
More
and that's
customers
what it's about.
is more money, right? And that's the bottom line. And
they can't print that money without new customers, and they've already got you on the hook. They already got me, my kids, everybody on the hook that's been here. The new people are the ones who have the big pocket full of cash that the government's put in their pocket. And now they get to the bank, and the bank says, come on in, because we're going to print some more money and put your name on it.
It's happening right here in Winnipeg as we speak. There's no doubt about it, and it's crazy.
Yeah, I'd love to mention a bank that I went into to try to get an account, and I was turned down.
You're kidding.
I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding.
And I've heard that from customers who come into the funeral home. They go into the bank and they turn them down because they do a credit check on you to open up an account.
And it wasn't, yeah, that's true, but it wasn't even the credit check that I did get passed. They went into my social media and they checked my social media account, and they didn't like what I had going on there, and they said, we can't work with you.
How about the transit chaos? In Winnipeg, all they're talking about right now is what the transit mess is all about. And they're making it difficult for people to go to work, seniors to get around, people that are handicapped have to go 2 blocks to catch a bus, the fights in the bus, the chaos that's going around that whole bus system. And the Winnipeg mayor, Scott Gillingham, is not even giving a living crap about the people or the citizens that pay tax. What they could have done in a fast second is go back to the old system, which was working. Why fix what's not broken? Because that's part of the plan. to cause chaos, and they're doing a great job. And now let's talk about something else that's happening in the city. And I've talked about all this separately on my Facebook page where you can see it. Homelessness exploding in the city. Well, never have you saw what we see now on our streets.
Imagine having a family of 4 and you just lost your house because the bank won't give you the mortgage to stay in it.
Where do you go?
That's what I'm saying. How many people are just going to stay in their house and wait for the bailiff to show up to escort them out with police?
And, they're escorting people out of their homes every day of the week. I've always said this, I'm going to say it right now, and I tell people this all the time. People say, "Why own my home?" And I say, well, no, you really don't. If you miss your tax payment, they come and take away your house, and they sell it at an auction because you didn't pay your taxes. If you don't cut your grass on a property, the city sends somebody out to cut the grass for you, and then they send you this horrendous bill because they cut your grass. See, when we think we own anything, we really don't. And I always say when I work at the funeral home, everything in life is on lease. You can't take anything with you. And that goes for your properties, that goes for your cars and your house. And the only thing that's really important is our family. And even that is falling apart on us.
The guy on the screen in between us, he's got family too, and it just so happens that his family is stepping in to replace him now. And another CEO executive of a company called BlackRock is now ultimately sitting where Klaus used to sit. And that leads to all kinds of issues when you talk about Larry Fink, and BlackRock and Vanguard and State Street and a bunch of others that are really a big problem of, part of Klaus's evil plan and the World Economic Forum's 2030 agenda. This is something that is touching on so many aspects of our lives. It's confusing, isn't it?
It is. It's very confusing. And let's talk about it, because we're in Winnipeg right now. Let's talk about how families are afraid to walk outside. Here you have a mom and dad who've worked so hard to raise a family, and now they're retiring, and they want to go for a walk in their neighborhood, but it's dark out, and they can't because they're afraid of getting robbed, beaten, or even murdered. And that's part of the problem. Chaos. A broken city. An easy city to control. When our city's broken like it is, you're looking for answers, so you want the city to control you to make it better. Because when we look at the bus system, when we look at the homelessness, what are we looking at? We're looking at our leaders and saying, please, help us fix this system. But I'll tell you something. Last week I announced that I have a solution for the crime on buses as part of my platform. I don't want to throw out my platform, but I was willing to give out this one part just to see how many people would react and would want to know what the plan would be to get rid of violence on the buses. Guess what? Almost nobody responded. It seems like everybody wants a cure, but nobody wants to put the work in to get it. And that's scary. We did something for the fire paramedics, and how many people showed up? 0. People complain that 911 isn't showing up. 911's complaining nonstop to Scott Gillingham. Nonstop about how they're short, how people are waiting, how ambulances and fire departments are having trouble fighting fires and saving people's lives. Is it a priority? No. This next election is going to be an election where you have to go to the polls. There's no such thing as, my vote doesn't count. It does. A broken city is an easy city to control. You need to know that. You need to be on top of it.
I know too much, but I disagree. But,
Brad, I'm telling you, the change can happen with the people. People could come forth, and it's happened all over the world before. You come forth, you join together, you fight the government, you're going to win. They can't fight 1 million people, Brad. They just can't. They can't fight 10 million people going to the streets all over Canada. If people went to the streets and shut down their businesses and didn't buy gas.
Mike, they haven't stopped a damn thing in England yet, and 4 million people have marched on the streets for the last 3 weeks.
But think about when it happens all over the world, Brad.
Nothing has happened, Mike. Nothing.
Think when it happens all over the world. You got to be positive, man. You got to think positive, and you got to think that we can beat this.
This is so far gone, and we're so far into it, Mike, that I don't think there's anything coming back. And I mean, you guys tell us online. Get into the comments section, and please.
I disagree with Brad
because
a question. I think that if you have proper leaders, leaders that want to make change, people that want their lives, people that don't want to be controlled, people that want their freedom, and go to the streets. I'm not talking just in England or Germany or Greece. I'm talking all over the world. The people need to get angry. The people need to rebel. The people need to say, enough's enough. We're not going in this direction. This person here, Klaus Schwab, is nobody to us. He's not somebody we elected. He's a person making decisions on our behalf, and he's getting world leaders involved. Why? Because the almighty dollar. That's why.
Yeah, that's right. Just scroll up for a second. I'll read this comment from Shelley, because Shelley's kind of an important person at the moment. She's been organizing this coming Saturday's November 22nd deal. So the vets who lost their lives to defend our country are rolling over in their graves. I can attest to that. My grandfather is one of them. Watching the cowards not stand up to fight for our country. Convid made, wusses out of so many people and men in this country. It's a sad state of affairs. We need to stand and unite this Saturday the 22nd. We move as one. United we stand. Enough is enough. No farmers, no food. Come on, Manitoba, let's get together and do this, and let's make a difference, because I tell you what, like Mike said, it can't be done alone. We need everybody's help. Everybody has to get involved around here, and right across the whole country.
And, the other big thing about this is they want us to ask the government to save us, but we can save ourselves. We don't need the government. We need to get out there and fight and be soldiers. And she's right. People have died for our freedoms, for our freedom of right, for our freedom of speech. People's loved ones never went home to their to their parents and to see their little kids and to be with their families. Why? Because they died on a battlefield for us. And if these people could come to life now, or are looking down at us and seeing what we've done to this world after they died, what was the purpose? What was the purpose of these young soldiers brutally dying?
I like to say, not on my watch.
Not on my watch either. And, you people that know me know that I have some real fight in me. And that fight has really come in the last 2 years.
See, Mike Mazer agrees with me. I know that there's people out there who are going to stand on my side and some that are going to stand on your side. Positivity needs to be a part of all of this, Mike.
That's why I said
agree.
You got to be positive.
No, I can't stand there. I'm going to stand on that line in between it all and wait to see which side we're
No
headed
way,
on.
man. I'm going to war. I'm not standing and I'm not waiting. And if I have
That's
to,
not
I'll
what
cause.
I'm saying. I'm saying I'm standing on the line waiting to see which side is going to prevail.
Our side is going to prevail, man. We're going to go to war. We're going to fight.
Sure, we are. Who
Well,
are we going to fight?
you,
Who are you going to fight,
when
Mike?
you
Who
start
are you going to pull out the guns
when
on,
you start
buddy?
listen, there's one prime minister and a cabinet. There's how many
Who are you
millions of
gonna pull
people
out
in
the guns
Canada? Brad,
That's what you're saying.
Listen,
Though. You're going to fight.
what you're saying is really wrong, because I'm telling you, trust me, from what I know, there's people out there who are going to rebel and going to start a war, and it's going to be messy. But the people are not going to let their houses be taken away, their businesses, their livelihood. Canada may be far too gone, and maybe there's going to be a point where we're going to have to join with other people, but we have to unite. And if we don't, we're just sitting here. If we don't have that fight in us, that's like a boxer going into the ring and saying, well, I might win this war. No, you're going in there to fight the 12 rounds. And if you get knocked down, you get back up. That's just the way it is. That's my opinion.
Just remember, folks, you'll have no money, you'll have no car and gas, and you'll have no food. So good luck with that fight, and let me know who you're battling, because there's nobody standing across the line from you. At this point, Klaus Schwab doesn't live here, neither does his minions that run this all. And you're too far from Ottawa to make sure that they get what's coming to them. So I'm not sure who you're fighting, and I can't see it happening.
You're fighting the government, Brad. You're fighting Klaus Schwab.
We've stood on ledges. Nothing has happened. Nothing has made a difference so far. The WEMR keeps going. Agenda 2030 keeps going. Smart meters, cameras, all of it keeps happening. Nothing has stopped this, and nothing I don't think can.
We're gonna go. We got like 10 minutes left or whatever, so I want to get to some comments.
Hey, we're always going to be on the other side of the coin on this one, because I tell you what, at some point, one of us is going to be right.
This is how control replaces freedom, by the way, and that's the bottom line.
And they want us arguing like this. They really do.
Well, I mean, we can argue, but we're still friends.
No, I know.
The bottom line
we're not arguing.
It's
a conversation.
It's a conversation and voices raised, but these conversations should be happening all over the world.
Who sits on the other side of you, and having that conversation is the biggest part of moving forward for us all, whether it's fighting or not fighting, because ultimately, without conversation, we get nowhere, do we?
If we don't have this conversation, every major system is going to fail us. And it's going to happen all at once.
That's right.
And that's what Brad's talking about. Does this happen by accident? No. It doesn't happen by
When
accident.
control replaces freedom, you and I both know that that's a troubling situation for Canadians to be in.
We have broken policies. We have a broken healthcare system.
Yep.
We have a broken education system. Our courts are broken. Our infrastructure is falling apart. Our businesses are falling apart. Our financial independence is falling apart. And once everything collapses, people expect whatever solution is offered. And that's what Brad's part is. Whatever solution is offered. I don't agree with that. I
Well, I'm
believe.
not accepting any solution that's offered. What are you talking about?
Well,
That's not the case. I'm
let's-
moving to the bush. I'm
Let's
gonna
talk
go
about
off
digital
grid.
ID. So you're running away?
Well, I'm not running away. I'm waiting for my day to fight because I tell you what, there's no enemy to
Who
stand
you-
across from.
Who are you fighting? You just
Well,
said to
that's
me,
what I'm saying to you. Who are you talking about that's coming to get me?
the government's coming to get you. Who's going to come to your door and take your house
who is
away?
that? Who is that?
So who works for the government? Brad?
RCMP?
Who works for the government?
Military? We don't have one.
When they come to your house, who comes to your house? It's the bailiffs. Who the bailiffs work for? They work for the government. Who are we fighting? We're fighting the government. That's who we're fighting. It's common sense.
I'll be on the side of a mountain looking down. And I'll
Let's
have a long
talk
way
about
to see.
digital currency. People don't understand how serious this is. What does digital currency mean? Go ahead, Brad.
Digital currency? What do you think it means?
I don't know. You talk about it. I need to take some water.
Okay, well, digital currency has a lot of different aspects. There's obviously Bitcoin and all of the online. wonderful.
No cash.
Well, there's no cash. It's going to be a
No
different
privacy?
society. No, that's right. No privacy.
Every purchase monitored.
Yeah, that's right.
Every transaction tracked, and it's happening right now as we speak. Look at your bank statements. They're tracking everything you do. Check your Visa, MasterCard. It's all tracked. Your ability to spend money is controlled by someone else, and they can block your purchases. And it's happened to everyone where you go there and they say, sorry, you can't use your card. They block your purchase. So then if you need groceries and you went there and they blocked your purchase, well, you got no groceries.
Yeah,
you're hungry.
You'll be strong enough to fight that battle. No worries.
They can freeze. They can freeze accounts instantly, Brad. And
I know.
they've been doing it. Look at Revenue Canada.
You're gonna make it to halfway to Kenora, and you're gonna find out you don't have enough. You can't get to your bank
So
account to get gas.
who are we fighting? We're fighting the government again. Like, who seizes your bank account? Who's the only one allowed to go into your bank account and seize your bank account? Revenue Canada.
Can't shut down my life if I'm living in the middle of nowhere.
They can stop you from traveling. They can shut down your life without warning.
So where is this already happening? Come on, tell me.
It's happening in China. China uses digital money. They're tied to the social credit system. Nigeria, restricted cash, forced to digital currency. Australia, a testing ground for the digital dollar. Canada has already built digital currency, and it's coming into place. So digital ID,
It is?
yeah, sooner than you think.
That's like breaking news, I
So
guess.
no, it's not, because when you go to the bank right now, I opened up another account last week, and what do? You go there. If I open up my phone right now, Brad, and I want to go into my bank account, guess what happens? Digital ID. They look at your eyes and they let you in. You don't put a passcode in anymore. It's happening right now as we speak everywhere.
Yeah, I won't be doing that.
They're controlling you everywhere. You go to the bank. Some credit unions now, you have to use your thumbprints, and that's how you get into the account. Digital ID connects banking, healthcare, travel, employment, social media, and government services. One switch controls everything.
It's not safety, it's control, of course, as Mike has mentioned, which again means what? No guns?
No, it's controlled by technology.
Yeah,
so
but-
we have a different war. The war these days and the war that's happening to us every day is on the
Yeah,
internet.
they're coming for your guns too, and you better remember, I'm not sure who you're going to war against because you got no guns.
You don't have guns?
Well, you're not going to have guns.
Why is division important to this agenda?
Why is division important? Why you keep reading my line? You answer.
Because a united population is strong. A divided population is weak. Divided by race, divided by class, divided by politics, by identity, by beliefs, make people fight each other, just like Brad and I are doing. So they never fight the real enemy.
How do we fight back? People watching want solutions, man. They don't want us ordinary citizens to not be a part of this.
We
So
fight
what
back
can
by
they do?
uniting. We fight back by using cash, supporting local businesses, questioning everything that's happening, speaking without fear. And I do that all the time, speaking without fear, even though I jeopardize the business all the time. Reject digital ID. So when they ask you for digital ID, reject it. Refuse to take it. When they want to put the chip in your hand,
that's right.
Refuse that. Protect our rights. That's the bottom line.
You know, a lot of people know this stuff. We know that. People that are watching tonight, we know you're up to date. Your eyes are open and you're wide awake. The problem is we need your help. We need you to help share this message because other people don't have a clue. You know how you can't talk to anybody about these topics because, well, they're going to put you in that place and then the next thing you know, you're not able to really defend your way out of it quite properly and they end up controlling it. Well, guess what? All you have to do is send them this. And at that point, they can listen to us tell them what's going on. You don't have to say a word. All you have to do is share, like, and love.
Follow.
Follow too.
This is not a game, as Brad said at the beginning. This is not a drill. This is very real. The future of Winnipeg depends on what we do now. Wake up, stand up, unite, love each other, care for each other. Thank you for tuning in to another edition of the Mike Vogiatzakis Show. We didn't get a chance to get to the comments tonight, but we are going to make a point of doing that. Join us next week where we're going to talk more about the court case.
And
crime.
We're bringing on Victim Family Services.
Yeah.
Lady. What was her name again?
So her name is Cecilia. Cecilia.
Cecile?
Cecilia. I was calling her Jennifer all week.
It's Cecile.
Cecile.
All right.
So she's going to be on our show next week, and she is part of the Victim Services program, and we're going to get down and dirty with her, and she's going to share some stories with you because she's right on the front lines.
Yeah, she's like in multiple courtrooms
She's
a day,
in
right?
6-7 courtrooms a day, and they have a crew of people that work through Candace House, which is works by donations.
It's an NGO,
right?
Non-government organization that basically helps victims.
Take care of yourselves and each other. God bless you and your families.
Stay strong, stay free, and remember, this is the Mike Vogiatzakis Show. Good night, everybody.
Good night, Brad.
Night, Mike.